Hello, everyone, and you're welcome to Helena's Corner. So, for today, we're going to kick off my YouTube channel, just like I've explained to you in the previous video. So today, our first topic is going to be on 5 hidden dangers parents overlook every day. Is your child really safe? So we're going to be looking at 5 hidden dangers parents overlook every day. You're welcome back to my channel, and I am Helena, social worker, as you all know, with experience working with families, children, and child protection. So today's topic is one that every parent needs to hear. It's very, very important, and these are just little dangers that we overlook as parents. Okay, so stay with me because by the end of this video, you're not going to only see the risk more clearly, but you will know exactly what to do to protect your children better. 5 hidden dangers. What are the 5 hidden dangers as parents we overlook? One is digital danger. Of course, we are all aware of what the digital danger is, and that's the hidden world of online grooming. Do you look at what your children do online? Do you look at their phones? Do you know exactly what your children are doing online? Especially when it comes to gaming, when it comes to social media, you know, different online games here and there now that a lot of abusers use to groom young people or young children. That is one of the hidden dangers. How often do you check your children's phones? How often do you check what they're doing? And of course, it's not just strangers, it's friends of friends. You know, a child can be groomed over social media, a child can be groomed online. A child can be manipulated into doing things that are unspeakable. Yes, how often do we actually look at our children's phones, especially the ones that have handsets or that's got data, mobile data on them, or social media? Because you might not even know your child has social media. We need to pay attention to these details as parents. Secondly, is over trusting adults. Yes, not everyone deserves a pass. Not every adult is a safe adult for your child. We teach children stranger danger all the time, and we forget that 90% of abuse done by a child is by someone they know. Not every adult is a safe adult for your child. Not everyone deserves a pass. You need to assess. You need to find out who the adult is. You need to do, some background check before you can safely or confidently leave any adult with your child. Teach your children boundaries. Teach them to know that they've got their own private space. Teach them to know that to be able to say no to people, especially adults, because sometimes because the person speaking to them is an adult, they might not want to say no, or because of the fear of being probably disrespectful. But teach your children to say no. Teach your children to know how to say no and when to say no. You need to empower them. Now, number 3 is emotional neglect. That is a very silent form of harm. Emotional neglect. Are you emotionally present for your children? How present are you? It's not only about living with them in the same home. How present are you? Do you get yourself involved in things that are going on with them? Do you ask them how they're doing at school? Do you check up on them? Being physically present but emotionally absent can harm your child's sense of safety. Yes, it can harm your child's sense of safety. Encourage regular and intentional connection time. So for some families, you can do it weekly, you can do it bi-weekly. I'm not even recommending anything more than weekly because you need to spend time with your children to know what's going on. with them. Like it's something that should be done daily. However, as a family, you can devote a certain time in a week or twice a week for you all to come around, sit together and discuss what's been going on. And of course, you need to be open to your children as well with what's going on with you. That way, they'll be able to tell you what's going on with them. Check up on your children daily. That's a given. You must do that every day. However, set up time, of course. Some families do movie night together on Fridays. Some families do Wednesdays and Fridays. It just depends on your family and look at when, it's going to be okay for all of you to come together and talk about what's going on in your lives. That's aside checking up on them every day to find out how they are doing, what they did in school or, within the community or whatever. Number four is domestic conflict, the trauma of what they hear. Children are a product of where they come from. If you look at the way a child resolves conflicts at school, it's the way his parents resolve their conflict. A child, listen. They all listen. They observe the room. They understand the tension going around in the home. So if there's malice, if there's conflict between mom and dad, they know. If there's arguments, if there's any domestic conflict, they're aware. You don't need to tell them. They can always, and trust me when I say children are very, very good when it comes to reading the room. They understand what's going on, even without you telling them explicitly what's happening or what's been happening. Now, number five is the myth of good parenting. What do we call good parenting? When pride blocks help. Sometimes love isn't enough. We all know that parents love their kids. We all know that, of course, you can't, have a child and say you don't love your child. However, you might not be parenting your child well enough. You might not be parenting your child in the right way. Yeah, sometimes it's unconscious, you don't know, but love is not enough, or the fact that you love your child is not enough for you to say you are actually parenting your child very well. I always encourage parents to seek help, seek support. It's not wrong. And a lot of parents, it's the pride that comes first, but it's normal and it's okay to seek help. It's normal and it's okay to seek support. For the real talk, of course, hurt people, hurt people, hurt people, hurt people. But like I said, that's not the end of the story. If you grew up in a home where shouting, silence, or shame is normal, you might unconsciously repeat that with your own children. So, normally, how you were parented is definitely how you're going to parent. So, you have to consciously unlearn some certain things that you might have learned or seen your parent do in order to, successfully and safely parent your own children. We don't want to overlook that fact because history is very, 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 very important. Another thing is you can love your child with your whole heart, just like I said, but if there's no consistency, if there are no boundaries or emotional safety, they can still feel lost. I always tell parents that children thrive in safety, they thrive in structure, they thrive in support. It's not about just loving your children, it's about doing well to ensure that they feel safe at home, they feel secured at home, they feel supported at home. It's not only about love, it's about actually going the extra mile and being very, very intentional about your parenting. Now, there are some other things that some parents say. They say things like, this is how I was raised. That is not a justification at all. A lot of us were raised differently. A lot of us, especially Africans, a lot of us, probably between my age bracket or even above, were trained differently from from what it is today. So That is not a justification to do some certain things to your child because those things were done to you by your parents. The fact that it happened to you doesn't mean it should happen again. So I need us to unlearn certain things. Tradition is not an excuse for trauma. Tradition is not an excuse for trauma. We don't parent based on culture, okay? We parent based on what's healthy for the children, what's healing, and what's helpful. Now we're going to talk briefly about guilt and shame, making children to feel bad in order to control them is one of the wrongest ways to parent. And a lot of us, a lot of parents do that. Making your children feel bad, probably for what they have done, it doesn't teach them respect. Instead, it teaches them fear and resentment. Making your child feel guilty for what he or she has done wrong is not the best way to pass a message across. You can always call the child, sit the child down, speak to the child about what he or she has done, the consequences, and the likely impact of what he or she has done. Making a child feel guilty or shaming the child or embarrassing the child, because some parents even do that. They go to the extent of embarrassing the child um, in public places, maybe like church, or maybe if they go for a party, or if they've got other children there, maybe at the park or wherever, or the train station, bus station, as the case may be. Embarrassing your children like that will not bring respect. It will only bring fear and resentment. And of course, we don't want that. Now, also, it depends on the behavior of the child. You need to also try to understand why your child is behaving a certain way. Try connection before correction. I tell parents, try connection before correction. This behavior, where is it coming from? Because in my experience, what I've found out is that a lot of behaviors that children portray are because they are seeking attention from their parents. So if you don't give your child that attention that the child needs, the child will do something to get your attention. If you're not the type of parent that is emotionally present for a child, as well as physically present, the child will seek for it. Now, if the child is being a good boy or a good girl and she's not getting your attention as a parent, she's going to try the other way. She's going to try all these challenging behaviors because she wants to get your attention. Yes, children seek attention. They want attention. And sometimes they behave this way because they want to get attention. They want their parents to look at them. They want their parents to focus on them. So we need to make out time for our children. It has to be an intentional effort. It's not something that would come naturally. It's something you have to be very, very intentional about. Now, what you don't address, your child will definitely inherit. Unhealed trauma doesn't disappear. It shows up in your reactions, your tone, your rules, and your silence as well. So, as a parent, if you're going through any unhealed trauma, a lot of parents have gone through a lot in the past. They've gone through a lot of experiences even as a child, and um they've not dealt with it. They've not healed. Now, if there's any unhealed trauma in your life, you need to seek help. You need to get support. You need to work on it, because it's going to show in your behavior towards your child. It's going to show in the way you speak to your child. It's going to show in the way you're even silent. It's going to show in your reaction to certain things that happen within the home. So unhealed trauma is is another way that we unconsciously endanger our children. It's okay to ask for help. I mean, no man is an island. It's okay to seek support. It's okay to speak to someone you feel like, would understand what you're going through and is able to either signpost you or counsel you or whatever the case may be. It is not bad to seek support. A lot of people, especially from the African descent, do not like to seek support. They see it as a form of weakness, but it is not. It's actually strength. It is actually you recognizing that you need help in this area and you need someone to help you. It's always good. Like in my line of work, I've heard and I've come across parents that have said to me, I need help. I need support. I can't do this. I'm struggling. It's okay to say you're struggling. A lot of us do at some point. Another point I want to raise is your voice is very powerful. Use it to build your child's inner voice. Now, the way you speak to your child becomes their inner voice. Let's make sure it's kind, it's strong, and it's loving. Praise efforts, not just results. Name their strengths. Let them know let them know they're safe, they're loved, and they matter. You need to keep saying this to your children, even on a daily basis. You let them know that you love them and they're safe and they matter. And, even when they go out and they're in school or they're faced with one challenge or the other, your voice will, come back to them. Like, I'm going to give an example of myself. A lot of times, when I'm faced with certain situations, my mom's voice comes to my head. you know those words of affirmations that she gives to me to tell me that I'm enough, or I'm loved. I do things knowing that, okay, my mom loves me. I'm confident that my mom will be there for me. So you need to speak to your children every day. You need to you know declare words of affirmation. And of course, if you're a religious person from, whatever religion or for a Christian background, like I am, you have to reinforce the word of God in the lives of your children every day, just so that they hear and they know and it sticks in their heads that this is the promise of God for me. This is what my mom has said to me about my life. This is what, you know, is in the Bible about my life. You need to reinforce, you need to re echo it every day, so that when the child is even in your absence, the child can also be able to make some right and good decisions or right choices. So you need to always speak to your children. I always tell parents it's very important for you to speak to your children all the time. Words of affirmation, words that you love them, that they matter, and they are your priority is essential that you speak to your children. Meanwhile, before we continue, I'd like you guys to like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be bringing out more videos, talking about more topics. And of course, if you have any questions, you can just put them in the chat box or whatever. I will respond. Um, I'm also going to drop my email address if you want to contact me for whatever reason, for any advice or social services matter. I can always speak to you about it. um so yeah, and also forward this video to any parent you feel would also benefit from the information, because I know it's very, very important. This topic is very crucial because these are things that parents actually overlook when or while raising their kids. So, quick action tips: create a digital safety agreement with your child. Have weekly check-ins, bi-weekly check-ins. Speak to them about what's worrying them. Speak to them about, what they're happy about, what they're proud about. Review who has access to your child: friends, family, babysitters. Assess them before you leave your children with any adult. Educate them on their rights to feel safe. and to feel heard. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, and it helps more people to see this message. Subscribe for more tips and real life insights from the front line of safeguarding and family work. If there is a topic you want me to talk about, just like I've said, drop it in the comment section. Let's build safer and stronger families together. Thank you.